Hi everybody, it's Peter, and this is day 17 of the Savvy Sexy Social Vlog Every Day in August challenge, or in my case, vlogging every other day or every third day. Actually, this is 2 days in a row, so yay me. Today's question is, of people that are now dead, who would you like to, see, hang out with, talk with, that sort of thing? Before we do that question, I'd actually like to do a quick shout out to somebody I forgot to do in the shout outs and somebody I'd like to see. And I'd like to give a shout out to my, I'm ex-military. So my old crew commander from way back when, back in the late 80s when I was stationed in Germany. And I'd like to give a shout out to him. His name is Chris Collier. He actually has his own YouTube channel. He actually does, I think, about 3 videos a day. He's quite the quirky little character. He's out in Prince Edward Island, which is the east coast of Canada, for those of you who are not from this great land. He's living basically on his own with his cats and his dog, Ben. And he does weekly videos. He does one about different beers. He'll talk about things of the day, check out his property. I think he does also a wine video, and maybe a third, but I think he's down to at least 2 right now, depending on the mood of the day and what he's up to. And I think it's just things he does to just keep out of trouble. So I'm going to post his website down below, because I should have added him, because he actually is a good man. Go check him out. And now for today's question, who would you like to be with, hang with, who is now dead? Actually, again, it would be a long list, but 2 people that came to mind was Bruce Lee, because I thought he was pretty cool. He died a little too young. Yeah, I think he was like 33 or something when he died. I picked up his book a few years back on the art of Jeet Kune Do. I think what he did was he wasn't happy with traditional Wing Chun, so he developed his own style over time, and I think he, just like anything, incorporated different styles. He made up some of his own moves, and some things that weren't in traditional kung fu. He added in some other moves, things like high kicks and boxing, which is not part of some of the traditional things that he learned. So a bit of a chameleon. I'm sort of the same thing too. I usually like to take a little bit of everything, put it all together, and see what comes out. Tradition is sometimes fun at times, depending what the tradition is. But then sometimes you want to be sort of think outside the box, as they say these days, and sort of come up with your own style. And when I read his book, and I do recommend it, and also the video that they made the other day too, a few years ago, called I Am Bruce Lee, which is not bad, except it was spoiled by the MMA fighters, because there is a scene in Enter the Dragon where he's wearing the short shorts and the boxing gloves, and he looks like an MMA fighter. Says, oh yes, he's the godfather of MMA. No, he is just the godfather of modern martial arts and Jeet Kune Do. I've seen some of the interviews he did with Pierre Berton, who was a well-known Canadian journalist back in the day, back in the 60s. If you have any of the Bruce Lee videos, especially on Enter the Dragon, there is some of the footage from that, how he talks about things, and I just like how he does talk in his eloquence. And the one line I like quoting from him is, it's a line out of Enter the Dragon, where he's teaching a student about fighting, and use emotional content. They're about to spar off, and he just does a quick move with the student, and just a bunk. And then he says to the student, "How did that feel?" And the student goes like, "Let me think." And he's like, "Don't think, no. It is like a finger pointing away to the moon. Do not only concentrate on that finger, or you'll miss all that heavenly glory." And another person that is no longer with us that I would like to see is Gene Roddenberry, just because I like Star Trek and stuff. And he would probably be an interesting person to discuss things. He did have an interesting take on life. I was sad to hear some things about him when I saw the documentary made by Bill Shatner called Chaos on the Bridge, which was about the ups and downs of making The Next Generation. And you would think, running a TV show is easy. Oh, this will happen, that will happen. And some of the stories you did hear, as much as Gene Roddenberry liked the utopian type of future, no conflict and that sort of thing. It drove the writers nuts, because of the fact is, you can't write a story without conflict. You have to have some kind of a story, something that propels it along. People will have some kind of a conflict, and then you resolve the conflict, and then you have your happy ending. But to just write stories about nothing, where everything is happy, shiny, gummy bears all the time, it cannot be done. You basically just going to have a flat line of a story, just, moving along. So it was interesting to see how TV shows get made, produced, and the conflict amongst the people there. So, but him as a person, just to hear his take on other things too, because I do have some old recordings of him at conventions back in the 70s, from one of his old albums. I still have a recording on cassette that I may have to transfer one day onto and digitize it, called Inside Star Trek. I'm surprised I still had that, so that was kind of cool. So there's a couple of people there I'd like to see, and who aren't around anymore. They were gone before their time, sort of idea. And as I said before too, shout out to my old crew commander, Chris Collier, who would have been also in the list of people I wouldn't mind seeing who are still alive. So let's just see if I can keep going on a day-to-day basis. So again, thanks for coming out. Like and subscribe to this channel, and be seeing you.